Before I begin today's episode of Behind the Sketches, I need to make an important announcement. Last month, at the start of September, my dad got infected with a life-threatening sepsis. He was on a business trip, and he felt sick on the plane, and he's been stuck in the California hospital ever since. He's slowly been regaining his motor functions, been learning to walk and talk again, and has slowly been healing, but as you can imagine, it's taken a big toll mentally, physically, and financially. A GoFundMe has been launched to hopefully get enough money for him to come home and recover from this a little bit easier. You would be doing me, him, and my family a massive favor by donating or even just sharing. My dad has helped a lot of people in Omaha as a community leader, a coach, a friend, and for me, the best father I could ask for. The link to the fundraiser is in the description. Thank you for your support. Hello everybody, welcome back to 2DS Studios. I'm 2DS and this is the studio. And today's video marks episode 7 of Behind the Sketches. And for this episode, I'm going to be drawing Alvin and the Chipmunks. But not just drawing, I'll be redesigning them in my own style. I've been feeling particularly nostalgic for these guys as of late, and I thought this would be a fun project. And now I get to talk about how I came up with the designs and the process behind making them. So let's sit back, relax, as we take a look behind the sketches. Alvin, being the hardest character to redesign, very much fits his character very well. If you look at the original sketches when I was first coming up with this project, you can tell that I was very much drawing Alvin's more classic design with the classic hoodie, just to kind of give myself a bit of a warm-up. But after a while, I thought, how could I make Alvin's design say more about his personality? Alvin was always the biggest personality out of the group, being a big troublemaker, wanting to have fun, being kind of the leader of the band. And I thought that adding the varsity jacket would be a great reflection of that, but also sticks to the core traits of Alvin's design that make him so iconic. Most notably keeping the big yellow A on his shirt. I also went back and forth a lot on keeping his hat. At first, I originally wasn't gonna give him a hat, but I'm honestly really glad that I did. Something about it just really completes the design. I did also toy around with a more skater-esque look to kind of fit that rebellious nature. I'll have to draw that sometime later, because I think it's a cool design, but I am still really proud of the final design with the varsity jacket. I also added ripped jeans to it, and I wanted the rips to look like stars because he's a rock star type of character. Man, looking at Alvin's design just gave me the best idea for like chipmunk merch. Like with the varsity jacket, like maybe like on the back you could put like a picture of Alvin or just the Alvin Chipmunks logo or something like that on the back, because I would buy that in a heartbeat. And just like that, Alvin's design is finished. One chipmunk down, 2 to go. Let's move on to Simon. Everyone knows that Simon is the smart one because he has big ol' glasses. I think it's funny that we assume people with glasses are smart, yet they had to fail a test to get them. For me, redesigning Simon, I always had a very clear idea of how I wanted to do it, giving him a little comb over with, of course, the big glasses. Although I was kind of trying to pick between doing a hoodie or a turtleneck for Simon, because originally I wanted all the chipmunks to have hoodies, kind of like the movies, but then after playing around with the style for a bit, I started to think, you know what, I'm gonna give each chipmunk like a different type of sweater or shirt or whatever, just to make each design more distinct. And the turtleneck greatly reflects his personality, in my opinion. Very nerdy, very Simon. Simon is like the perfect name you could give to like a nerd character. I really like the way I drew Simon's glasses. They kind of remind me of the Lakitu from Mario. I just thought that'd be a fun little detail to add. Originally I was thinking about just leaving it a plain blue sweater, but something about the stripe just completed the whole thing for me. It felt kind of naked without it. I'm really proud of how Simon turned out. And now for my favorite of the 3 chipmunks, Theodore. Theodore's design was probably the one that was the easiest for me, because Theodore is my favorite character and I relate to him a lot, since he's like the youngest of the 3 chipmunks, and I am also the youngest of my family. If you look at this early concept sketch, you can see that his hoodie looks really similar to the 2DS Studios hoodie. It was back in 2020 when I was still figuring out my art style and doing a lot of the planning for 2DS Studios in terms of the art. So there's a little neat bit of 2DS Studios lore for you. The design memo for Theo was basically just make it cute and make it simple. I wanted to make his clothes really baggy, since he was the smallest of the chipmunks that I drew, to kind of play on him being the youngest. Funny thing about the shows and movies is that they never fully say how old the chipmunks are, they just say that they're kids, and are never really specific about that. I always like to imagine that Simon is the oldest, Alvin is the middle child, and Theodore is the youngest. Theodore is literally just me as a chipmunk, and I'm really proud of the final design. You know, trying to pick my favorite redesign that I've done for this video is kind of like picking your favorite child. You can't say it out loud, because I love them equally, but all for different reasons. And Theodore's design is the most simple out of the 3, but I think that's why I really like it. That and Theodore is just kind of my favorite character by default, so yeah. But that doesn't make me any less proud of my designs for Alvin or Simon. Quite the contrary. I think Simon's design really complements his smart personality, and I really love how I drew his glasses. I just love drawing characters with glasses, and Simon is no exception. And for his little keyboard in this drawing, I try to add like the cool S that you draw in like middle school or elementary school, you know what I'm talking about. And Alvin is probably the design I am the most proud of out of all of these, because it really took me kind of taking what worked about Alvin and really adding my own twist to it, as opposed to just doing the classic red hoodie with the yellow A. Like, I wanted to do something more with it that captured his personality, and I succeeded at that pretty well in my opinion. Like, I think all the designs looked great by themselves, but adding them all together like this, it just really... oh man, I can't even put it into words. It just feels so complete. Like, I feel like if little kid me had this poster like in his room, he would adore it so much, because I loved the Chipmunks as a kid. I was introduced through the live action movies. I know a lot of people don't like the movies. I know technically they're not good, but I grew up with them, and so there's a bit of nostalgia bias. I just love these characters a lot. They're like the go-to iconic trio on Halloween. I've always wanted to do this as a group costume with my friends, but we can never get it to work out because one of my friends is always gone. You know which one you are. But that's life, I guess. Also, I gave them all Chucks instead of them being barefoot just because I thought it looked cool. Also, if you look on their Chucks, you'll notice that they all have their initial on there. Alvin's guitar was really hard for me to draw, because it is such a trapezoidal shape and trying to get everything to line up. But I took some artistic liberties, so let's just roll with it, okay? Cool. I don't know what I'm yapping about at this point. But what I do know is that I am extremely proud of my redesigns of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode of Behind the Sketches. I hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did. And if you liked this episode and want to check out more of my channel, make sure to like and subscribe for more. And if this video does well enough, I might do some redesigns for the Chipettes. I had a lot of fun redesigning the boys, so I'm totally down for doing the Chipettes next. Be sure to stay tuned by following all my socials, the links in the description, as well as the link to my dad's fundraiser for his sepsis. I want to give a massive shout out and a thank you to all those that have donated so far. We're almost halfway to our goal, so thank you all for your support. And don't forget, it all started with a sketch. This has been 2DS Studios, and until next time, stay tuned and stay cool.